Good evening. Welcome to the After Everyone Has Gone to Bed Except for You show with Brooke Ramos. For tonight's show, we have the top 10 reasons why, for educators, about the nature and design of compelling experiences. Number 10, focus on the takeaway message. Do you want students to memorize names and dates, or do you want them to bring the concepts with them into the real world and have the ability to think critically about real-life situations? By focusing on what's important, you won't sweat the small stuff, and you give yourself more creative liberties in the presentation of the material, and you will allow your students to interpret information in their own way too. Remember, it's the takeaway message that everyone should have in common, not the form of presenting or processing it. Number 9. Number 9. I was thinking 6 for a second. I was flipping them over. Everybody learns in different ways. Everybody has different abilities. Number 9. Assessment can take multiple forms. There's no one way to assess our students. There's no one way to present the information, so there's no one way to assess it. Let's do away with the days of essays as the only format for assessment. Let your students thrive by expressing what they have learned in their own language, whether it be written, acted, photographed, sang, designed, on a computer, freehand, anything. There is no one way to portray knowledge. Number 8. Get into the material with your students. Sometimes literally, take a field trip to important historical sites. Have students write a play depicting what they think the important figures in history were like. Step into the shoes of our ancestors and experience what life was like and why they might have made certain decisions in history by doing a character study instead of reading a history textbook for facts. Allow the students the opportunity to form their own experiences. Number 7, incorporate technology. This seems like an obvious one these days if you're working with especially teenage students, but even as low as 5th grade, they're already studying their cell phones more than your face. So what do you think most of your students are doing instead of listening to you teach a lesson? They're staring at their devices. So why don't you give them a reason to? How about setting up a class Twitter page and have them make comments during a lesson or a discussion? Let them express themselves with the devices they feel comfortable speaking through, whether it be a literal device or their own voice. Give kids a reason to use Facebook. Have them create a page for important figures in history that you're studying, and they can write on each other's walls as those individuals. Number 6, make sure every student knows that they are also a teacher. There are 20-some teachers in the classroom, not one. You are not the only one. Get off your pedestal and realize that students can be teachers too. Build confidence and understanding by having students teach students. Mastery is best displayed through the ability to teach content. Divide up the unit and have different groups teach different parts of the unit and then present through multiple means, a diorama, a skit, anything they want. Number 5, we're halfway through, stay with me. Appeal to the interests of every type of student. Don't use one mode of teaching all year, and never use one form of expression at a time. If you must stand up and talk to your students, have images to accompany your words and be aware of how you deliver the information. Maybe you could use voices for different people or play up the drama through your delivery to hook their interest. Or if you teach math, have students look for mathematical concepts in nature and photograph them instead of doing another example on the board. Use song and rhyme to help younger students remember difficult concepts. Even older students can sometimes get a kick out of it and they'll get stuck in their heads forever. For example, I changed the lyrics to John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith for my 1st grade English language learners and turned it into the pronoun song. As cheesy as it sounds, they loved it and they thought it was the coolest thing ever. Number 4, have fun. Tap into the talents in your classroom as well as your own. The forms of expression in teaching are endless if you strive to make lessons fun for your students. Don't think fireworks and smoke machines. Keep it realistic, but continue to challenge yourself with new ways of doing things. Technologically challenged? Seek help and make a video. Tone deaf? Take a stab at making a silly song about the US presidents. Your kids will appreciate it when you get out of your comfort zone because that's what we ask them to do time and time again. How can you expect your students to branch out if you're not willing to? Put yourself in their shoes. And really, don't forget to laugh with your students. Enjoy the ride so you remember why you love teaching and you don't get burnt out. Number 3, getting close to the end. Teach your students to be open-minded and remember to remain open-minded yourself. Broaden their perspective of what they always thought they knew about themselves and others. Let them discover good and bad poetry in their favorite pop songs. They might stop being their favorites once they realize how poorly written they actually are. Or they might leave with a new appreciation of a genre of music that they never thought they would enjoy. You know, your rap fans might leave singing Taylor Swift one day or something. You never know. You just got to help them look for different perspectives at all times. Try Skyping with a classroom in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Ask those students what it was, how Belgian colonization has shaped their future. And then also make connections just student to student on the same level. They're the same age. They have things in common, even though they're on 2 different sides of the world. Cross the cultural bridges. And don't forget there are cultural bridges to be crossed within your own classroom. Start in the classroom, then branch out. Number 2, make it personal. When you're teaching, connect to your own experiences and teach students to connect to their own. Through better understanding themselves, how they learn, how they best express themselves, who they are, then they'll be better equipped to learn. Some of them haven't delved into that side of themselves yet. They don't know themselves or their talents or their weaknesses. Help them figure those things out first. And a student won't remember the important dates, battles, or names of people 10 years from now because you put it in a test or they read it in their textbook. But if you ask students to investigate their family tree, and they interview family members and they might discover things about their great-great-great-grandparents that they never knew, and it might give them a better sense of themselves while learning about their own history. Make it personal. And the number 1 thing to always remember when trying to create a compelling experience is to be creative. Come at the material from a different perspective, make connections that are novel, effective, and whole, as Punya Mishra would say. That's what makes something creative. Novel, effective, and whole. New. Show them math in a way they've never seen before. Help them discover the Fibonacci sequence in flowers and shells. Connect math to nature, to everyday life. Always bring it back to everyday life, to reality. And that's it. So thanks for watching the very, very late show after everyone has already gone to sleep except for you. You now know Brooke Ramos's top 10 ideas for educators about making experiences compelling.